Hello student, my name is Amrita Dubey and I'm working as a senior assistant professor in BBD NIIT Lucknow. So in previous presentation, we discussed about the food technology and food processing. So in this presentation, we will study about the more about food processing and many parameters. So let's start. Freeze concentration. Understand? So in the previous presentation, you understand what is the freezing, what is the use of freezing, and how it helps in the preservation of food after the processing. So this term is freeze concentration. Freeze concentration. So it is a simply form of milk crystallization where the water is crystallized into ice crystal and then the solid ice is separated from the liquid. Understand? Means in the process of freeze concentration, we concentrate the liquid food product like juices, coffee, liquid coffee or milk into more concentrated form so that we can decrease the amount of water present so that it will be very easy to export, it will very easy to transport from one place to another. Understand? So freeze concentration is the process of removal by the help of crystallization in which we remove the ice crystal formed in the liquid food product like juices, coffee, milk. There are many liquid products in which excess water is present. Then if we concentrate that food product so that we can remove the ice crystal and we can more concentrate the food product, what will be the benefit? If we decrease the amount of water present in the food, then what will be the benefit? The benefit will be it will become less in weight so that it can be transported. The handling process is also very busy. For example, you have seen the apple concentrated juice, lychee, guava. There are many flavor concentrated juices are coming in the plastic bottle, and the instruction is given that take 1 spoon of this concentrated juice and you can dilute with the 1 liter or 2 liter of water, and you can enjoy the fruit juice. Understand? So what is the benefit? In a 1 liter bottle or in a 500 ml bottle, you can preserve the juice in a more concentrated form. And whenever you have to use, you can dilute that fruit juice and you can make the concentration likewise. So these are the example of freeze concentration in which we remove the water content present in the fruit juice with the help of freezing. Freezing means we have to freeze the product, and when we proceed the freezing, ice crystal will form, and ice crystal will form of the pure water. And when we will remove the ice crystal, means we are removing the excess water present in the fruit juice, and the resultant product will be more concentrated as before. So this is the concept of freeze concentration. Secondly, water is partially frozen to produce an ice crystal slurry in concentrated product. Separation of ice crystal is then accomplished using some washing technique. Understand? Ice crystal will be removed. What will be removed? The ice crystal will be removed. It is mainly applied for the fruit juice, coffee, tea extract, beer, and wine. Because if you one thing you can you can imagine or you can think, then we can also remove water content by the evaporation. Is it that? Is that possible? Yes, you can remove the water content by the evaporation. Understand? But is that possible to retain the texture, the flavor, the quality of the fruit juice? Uh, if you will concentrate the fruit juice with the help of evaporation of water, then the quality and the texture and the nutrient present in the fruit juice will become destroyed with the help of heat. In the same way, if you want to concentrate the milk, and if you will heat more and more, then the amount of nutrient and amount of and the texture and the concentration will become destroyed. So somewhere there are many fruits, there are many juices, wine, beer, coffee extract, some herbal extract where we cannot apply the heat process, we cannot apply the evaporation process. So how to concentrate that product? We can apply the freezing process, and with the help of freezing we can remove the extra water present in that food. That is called freeze concentration. Understand? So that slide is continuing, that is freeze concentration process. You can see in the picture that we are giving the feed in the crystallization crystallizer where ice crystal will be formed, crystal slurry will produce. When you are adding the feed, after some time, after cooling down, crystal slurry will form, and with the help of separator we can isolate the ice crystal somewhere else, and we can store our food product in a concentrated form. Understand? This is the pictorial, this is the flow diagram of the freeze concentration process. So these are the steps. What is the process? So you can add the feed in the nucleator. Nucleator is the is the compartment where the nucleation process, ice crystal growth process has been start. Understand? After the nucleation, when ice crystal becomes start to form, growth will take place. As I said, ice crystal will be grow in a large ice crystal form. Understand? And after some time, with the help of in the separation chamber, we can remove the ice and we can get the concentrated product. Crystal growth, then it is mainly two type. The freeze concentration is of two type, that is suspension crystallization and progressive freeze concentration. A progressive freeze concentration is more advanced technology because the ice crystal form in progressive freeze concentration is of very large size. You can see in the picture the ice form in the progressive freeze concentration is of very large size, so we can very easily isolate, we can very easily separate the ice, and we can make our product concentrated in where in suspension crystallization very small ice crystal are formed, so separation process is quite difficult. So progressive freezing concentration is very important in terms of separating the ice crystal from the liquid food product and getting the food in a more concentrated form. So in the next slide, application of progressive freeze concentration, that is application of PFC. So concentration of aqueous food such as fruit juice, milk, beer, wine, coffee, tea is a major unit operation in the food industry where we performing the PFC. Understand? Liquid food including evaporation, freeze concentration, reverse. These are the many small processes which are carried under the progressive freeze concentration. Evaporation we cannot perform. As I said, we cannot perform the evaporation in some kind of food. So in that case, PFC is very important and it is very commercially used process. Next is the food dehydration. We study all about the freezing, freeze concentration, and many more things about freezing. Now it is the term food dehydration. Understand? In the process of freezing, we are lowering the temperature, and after lowering the temperature, ice crystal were formed. Understand? And we stop the microbial, we can stop the enzymatic reaction in the food, and we can preserve the food for a longer period of time. But in food dehydration, water is not converted into the ice crystal. Here, with the help of heat, we evaporate the water present into the food. Understand what is the difference between freezing process and dehydration process? In the dehydration process, we are heating the product with the help of different dryers, and with the different dryers we make our food product dehydrated. That is, we reduce the moisture content and water content present in the food. Effect of dehydration on food. So first you have to understand what is dehydration. It is the removal of water from product. The purpose of dehydrating, that is drying, is usually to improve the shelf life of the product, and thus dehydration is a unit operation to great importance to the food industry. This is a very important unit operation which is performed in the food industry to make the food uh, to make food available for a longer period of time. During dehydration, moisture content is reduced. The water activity of the product is also reduced. Once the water activity has dropped, it is considered generally shelf stable. Understand? When water activity, water content become less, then the food become shelf stable. Product may be dried for other reason, for example, to control texture properties such as crispness. Understand? It is not only required that we always want to process, yeah, we always want to store the food for a longer period of time. Sometimes we also make food dehydrated on the basis of preference of the consumer, that if the consumer like more crispness, then we also proceed for the dehydration process. Here are some example like we Indian market export lots of onion powder, garlic powder, and ginger powder, because these three are the basic spices, basic condiments which are used in the Indian dishes. So for the it is very preferred. It is very preferred for the industrialist, for the retailer shop, for the consumer, for the export, to use the dehydrated garlic product, dehydrated onion powder, in spite of using fresh garlic and onion, because they are having the same characteristics, same appearance, same flavor of the onion and garlic as in the fresh food. So here are some of the example of garlic product, onion product, dehydrated pink and red onion powder. Here the example of dehydrated food. Whole egg powder, egg are also dehydrated to form a egg powder, and if you want to proceed to make some dishes, then you can, what you will require, you will require 1 tsp of powdered egg, means 1 tsp of dehydrated egg powder. If you add 2 sp of water, then it will become like a one medium egg, and you can prepare dishes according to your requirement. Tomato powder, you can also uh, use a tomato powder, that is tomato powder, tomato dehydrated powder. We remove the water content, we remove the moisture content in the tomato, and we can make the tomato powder. And when you want to make something like tomato sauce, tomato pasta, then you can use the tomato powder in a spoon form, in a cup form, like half cup, 1 spoon, 2 spoon. You can add the water and you can make the product as you like. So there are many examples like sour cream powder, butter powder, non-fat dry milk, instant milk. You know instant milk, everybody use instant milk for the coffee making, for the milk, for milk. So there are many, you also know the coffee is what? Coffee is also a dehydrated product. So soup, you also know, that is soup. You take the soup powder and you add the boiling water and you can make the soup. So there are many products in the market in the form of dehydrated powder or instant powder, ready to eat food. We just have to perform 2-minute, 3-minute process, and we can prepare the meal, and the color, flavor, and texture are approximately same. So these are the changes takes place in food during drying. What kind of changes? As you study in the freezing, I described 4 or 5 process which can be found, which can be changed in the food during refrigeration process. Here is the changes takes place during the drying process. What kind of changes can take place? It can be a physical change, it can be a chemical change, it can be a enzymatic and microbial changes. So if you're processing in artificial condition, no matter, it will change the some quality of food. That understand? So that is, first one is the physical, that is moisture movement causing drying and toughing of texture, hydration, and softening of texture aggregation. So sometimes if you dehydrating the food, if you are removing the moisture content or water content present in the food, then that leads to the toughing of texture, means outer layer of fruits or any vegetable or any animal tissue become quite tough. Understand? Sometimes if the product is quite thick, then it become aggregated, it become like a gel like a structure. Understand? This is the chemical that oxidation can take place, because at high temperature oxidation can take place, that leads to the rancidity, and that results into the loss of flavor or bad odor. A chemical reaction in many chemical reaction can take place, like Maillard reaction. That is Maillard reaction causing decoloration and changing texture. So Maillard reaction, oxidative reaction, rancidity, what are these? These are the chemical reaction which can changes the color and flavor of the food. Enzymatic reaction, so lipase causing lipolytic rancidity, protease causing gelation and flavor and texture changes. So enzyme present in the food can also alter the appearance and enzymatic reaction in the food. Microbial growth of spoilage microbes. Quality deterioration can be caused by these. Growth of toxigenic organism causing food poisoning. Presence of infectious organism causing food poisoning. So these kinds of changes sometimes takes place in the food during the dehydration process. So texture changes. First one is the physical changes or texture changes. Physical properties such as color, texture, density, porosity, hydration, capacity are affected by the drying method. Understand? If you are performing the drying, color will be changed, texture will be changed, porosity means density will be changed. A tough and woody texture slow the incomplete rehydration, and loss of the typical fresh food juiciness are the most common defect during drying and storage. So discoloration, Maillard reaction, there are many changes can be takes place. Next is the color changes. Understand? So color changes mainly due to the Maillard reaction or any biochemical reaction present in the food. So enzymatic oxidation, Maillard reaction, caramelization, ascorbic acid browning are some of the chemical reactions that can occur during drying and storage. Discoloration and browning during air drying may be the result of various chemical reactions, including pigment destruction. So there are many reactions, as you oxidation, Maillard reaction, ascorbic acid browning, many chemical reactions can take place during the dehydration, and color changes can take place. That is the Maillard reaction. What happens in the Maillard reaction? You can understand from this picture. In this picture, it has been shown that sugar and the amino acid, sugar and the protein at high temperature form the Schiff base. After that Schiff base formation, amidoride product adduct is formed. That is the step 1, and this product is colorless. When it further dehydrated, then product like pyruvaldehyde form, that is step 2. After this, alcohol condensation takes place and melanodins form, that is melanodin produces different aroma and brown color. That is step 3, in which browning reaction or Maillard reaction produces that result into the color changes of the food. What is the shrinkage, porosity, and bulk density? So shrinkage, porosity, and bulk density are also the result of dehydration. It is also the changes found in the food during the dehydration process. So one of the most important physical changes in food stuff undergo during drying in the reduction of their volume called shrinkage. Shrinkage means what? Reduction in the volume. If acquire 2 millimeter square or 2 meter square area, then after dehydration or after drying, it will shrink in the volume. Understand? Shrinkage is caused by structural collapse attributed to the loss of water, changes in shape, size, loss of rehydration capacity, surface cracking. These are the many effects which are found, which can be seen during the dehydration process. Bulk density can be changed because previously water content is higher, so bulk density will be different. After drying, water will be removed, so bulk density will be changed. Porosity will be changed. Porosity, how it will be changed? If the product is fruit, and in the process of dehydration, sugar can clog the pore present in the food. So previously there was fruit was porous, but after drying, after dehydration, the porous structure is clogged by the sugar present in the food. So porosity will be different. Shrinkage, I said that after dehydration, shrinkage in volume happen in the food. That you can see from the picture, that is fresh apple cube. In the process of drying, evaporation, water vapor will be removed. Partially dried apple cube, it will, you can see this is the big structure, big square. Understand? Here is the round, that is shrinkage. Understand? There is no shrinkage, but there is what? In this process, there is a shrinkage. And when drying proceed further, then it will shrink all over the corner. It will shrink all over the corner and a convex structure is formed. So dried apple, surface coated with sugar. As I said, sugar will be come out and clog the pore. Acid and salts, shape distorted due to the cell shrinkage and migration of water soluble to the surface. So you can see this is the big piece of apples or apple fruits. After drying, the surface, the corner will be shrink, and when drying process will proceed further, then it will form the convex structure, and these changes can be takes place in the food. Case hardening. In the process of case hardening, that is, in the normal ordinary dried food, when you proceed the dried, then after drying, a dry surface, a tough texture, a tough surface will be formed around the food, and still the moisture content will be entrapped inside the food. As you can see, this is the moisture content, this is the moisture content, and at the outside, a tough, a very textured layer will be formed. In this process, dry outside as well as dry inside. When drying will be more, if the drying will be faster, or the temperature will be faster, then drying from outside and drying from inside will be equal, and there is no moisture content. So this is called what? Case hardening. Case hardening means the case, the outer case of the food product is formed, is covered with the very tough structure. So moisture content present in the food cannot evaporate, cannot go outside from the food. That is called case hardening. Understand? Ice crystal damage. What are kind of ice crystal damage? So ice crystal damage has been already discussed in the freezing process, that large ice crystal, small ice crystal, large ice crystal will be formed, more will affect the texture and the properties of food more adversely. So next one is the microwave heating. What is the microwave heating? So microwaves, so first of all you have to understand what are the properties of microwaves. They are the electromagnetic waves of radiant energy. Wavelength is this, frequency is 20,000 to 400 megahertz, specific to the food application. Understand? Microwave are mainly specific to the food application. Frequency approved for food application is 2450 megahertz to 915 megahertz. Reflect by the metal. Microwaves are reflected by the metals, pass through the air, absorbed by several food and the constituent. So you can understand the frequency, you can see the frequency range of the microwave which are used for the food, and what are the properties of microwave. So this is the mainly microwave properties which are used for the food heating. Microwave heating, you as you can see in the picture, understand, microwave travel to the food compartment, that is magnetron. Magnetron, what it does, it produces the electromagnetic wave, that it produces the microwaves. Understand? So from the magnetron, microwaves arise and it reaches into the in the food compartment, where on the tray where the food has been placed. So microwave makes the food molecule vibrate. When this microwave travel from magnetron to the food molecule, then molecule absorb the microwave and it vibrate at, and as a result food heating is proceed. So absorbed material heated up to extent of absorption, loss factor and loss tangent. These two terms are very important in the case of microwave heating. What is the loss factor and what is the loss tangent? Material that are highly absorbed of microwaves are called highly lossy factor. Understand? The material which will absorb means the material which are taking very less time to heat up, to boil up, to bake, then that material is called highly lossy. Means they lost the microwave into the heat energy. Understand? They absorb the microwave, they convert microwave into the heat energy. That material is called lossy material, highly lossy material. And if the food, there are many kind of food you can see. If you switch on the microwave, some food really get heated very fastly, some food takes more time, some takes 5 or 10 minutes. So that is the factor that is called highly lossy. The food which become heated very fastly, that is called highly lossy, and the food which take more time to heat up, that is called low lossy. Loss factor is also a measurement of the degree of penetration of the microwave. The greater is the loss, the more the heat will be produced. As I said, greater will be loss means microwave are converted into the heat energy, and with the help of heat energy our food becomes heated, our food are heated. Understand? So lossy factor means the properties of food to absorb microwave and convert into the heat energy, and more heat will be produced, so the food will be heated very fastly. Mechanism of microwave heating. What are the mechanism of microwave heating? So microwave reverse its direction according to the frequency of either 915 to this. As I discussed, these are the frequency for the food handling, food and certain other material. When microwave pass through the food, water and other polar molecule try to align themselves with the electric field. Understand? When the microwave reaches in the food, the polar molecule, the water content present in the food get ionized, and they form the pole, the dipole like structure, that is positive negative. Positive negative structure can be formed. This lead to the intermolecular friction, which turn in causing heat. When the dipole form, they vibrate, and when they vibrate at the frequency of this range, then what will happen? There will be friction, and with the result of friction, heat energy is produced. Understand? So at different component of food have different heating factor. It takes simultaneous conduction and convection to equalize the distribution. In the process of solid, we use the conduction process, and in the process of liquid, we use the convection process. This conduction and convection are the secondary effect, while the intermolecular friction heat is the primary effect. Understand? So this is the conduction and convection are the primary, are the secondary effect. Main mechanism by which microwave heats the product is the heat energy which are produced by the continuous friction of the food particle in the food. So how to microwave cook the food? You can see that is the magnetron. From the magnetron, microwave rays are arise and it vibrate the food molecule. Understand? When microwave will fall onto the food, food molecule will absorb the microwaves, and water molecule present in the food will be ionized. A dipole structure will be formed in the food, and as a result food molecule will be vibrated at the frequency of 2450 vibration per second. That results into the friction of the food particle with each other, and due to the friction, everybody knows heat will be produced, and that will lead to the heating of the food in the microwave. And as you understand, the microwave bounce back forth on the wall of food compartment just like light. When the microwave reaches the food, just as radio waves can pass through the, these are the example, understand? So mainly microwave, what does it produces? This produces the heat energy. How heat energy comes? So it comes from the friction friction of the each food particle which absorb the microwaves and it get heated. So you can see when microwaves absorbed by the food, it will ionize in the form of dipole, that is positive negative form, and this vibration, this vibration wave like structure will be formed in the food, and food will vibrate like frequency of microwave is 2450 megahertz, means in 1 second food particle will vibrate at 2450 hertz frequency. So friction will be produced and heat will be produced. These are the mainly drying method which are mainly used for the dehydration of food. So what are the use of drying method? With the help of drying method, we can decrease the water content, moisture content present in the food. We can also decrease the microbial growth and biochemical reaction required to deteriorate the food with the help of water. Because when water will not be present, so biochemical reaction will not be performed. And with the help of drying, when we heat the product, then microbes are also get destroyed in the food. So these are the different evaporation. There are the many process will be many type of drying process which are performed to dehydrate the product. Hot air drying. Hot air is used as the heating medium and is in direct contact. That is, we make the food in an oven and we input the hot air, and with the help of hot air, the moisture content in the food get evaporated and we get the food dehydrated. That is the surface. This second method is the surface drying. Surface drying means the food will not be in the directly contact with the hot air. Understand? Food will be on the shelves, and the shelves are heated underneath with the help of any kind of heated air. It can be any kind of heated gas or heated assembly, and with the help of conduction, because food is not directly in the contact of the heated air. There is a plate on which food is placed, and with the help of conduction process, heat goes from cells into the food, and water content or the moisture content present in the food get separated, get lost, and the food becomes dehydrated. Next one is the spray dryer. Everybody know what is the spray dryer? So in spray drying, the material to be dried is first suspended in air, that is liquid, converted into a fog-like mist, atomized, understand? Providing a large surface area. The atomized liquid is exposed to a flow of hot air in a drying chamber. Air and solid may move in parallel. Spray dryer mainly based on the mechanism that we perform, we make our food to be dehydrated into a spray. When we spray our food in a hot air, with the help of hot air, then the particle size of food is very small and it rapidly get dehydrated. So that is the spray dryer. In the next slide, you can see the structure, that is emulsion, or in any form. It can be emulsion, it can be a suspension, it can be a slurry, it can be a liquid. It is flown into the chamber with the help of hot dry air. So this is the atomizer. Atomizer, what it did, it performed the atomization. Atomization means it makes the food particle into a very small molecular structure, and when this molecular structure comes in contact with the hot air, it will become dehydrated. Exhausted air will can be separated, and dehydrated product you can get. That is one of the oldest process: dissolving, emulsifying, dispersing the active in an aqueous solution. Atomization and spraying of the mixture into a hot chamber. A porous dry particle is formed, retarding the large active molecule while the smaller water molecule are evaporated. Understand? So from here we input our food with the hot air, and with the help of hot air, our atomized small size particle get evaporated, water content will be decreased, exhausted air can be separated from here, and dehydrated product you can separate from here. So this is all about the spray drying. You can also understand the structure of spray dryer, that is drying gas. It can be a drying gas, it can be a drying air. That is the drying chamber. Here is the atomizer. Atomizer helps in the atomization of the food product which you have to dry. Understand, from here atomized food structure, here from here a hot air or hot gas will enter into the drying chamber. In this drying chamber, drying will be proceed. Understand, water molecule or the water content is present in the food get evaporated, exhausted gas can be separated, and dry food particle can be collected. From here dry food particle can be collected. That was the liquid food having lots of moisture content, lots of water content, but after drying you will get the exhausted gas and you can get the dry particle in a collector. So these are the structure you can very easily understand. That is a spray dryer, that is a freeze drying, rotatory drying, spray dryer. These are the roller dryer. These are the structure, and from this structure you can easily understand the mechanism of a dryer, which I'm narrating, which I'm explaining you. So in combine you can study, you can draw the structure, and you can make the practice. Freeze drying is the process of removing water from a product by sublimation or desorption. So in freeze dryer, we make our food dry with the help of concept of sublimation. Means the water or the moisture content present in the food first converted into the ice crystal form, and that ice crystal present in the solid form present in the food directly converted into the gas without changing into the intermediate liquid state. So with the help of sublimation process, first we freeze our product with the help of cryogenic liquid, with the help of liquid nitrogen, and when all the water content will be freezed in the food, with the help of vacuum we reduce the pressure and we can evaporate our water content, and the resultant product will be of very good quality, having the porous structure, and it can be easily rehydrated, it can be easily made into the ready to eat food, and there are many more process. For example, if you want to know the freeze dried product present in the market, so there are Nescafe coffee, dried milk, soup. So there are many products in the dried form, and they are dried with the help of freeze dryer. So these are the mainly concept of freeze dryer. Here you can understand the process. Polymer or any food product, freezing of polymer solution means freezing of food solution. As here is the food product, you will incorporate the cryogenic liquid or liquefied nitrogen gas. Then with the help of liquefied nitrogen gas, all the water content present in the food will become changed into the ice form. That is where you can understand freezing of polymer solution. Formation of solvent crystallization. The solvent means the water content present in the food, like in the coffee, in the soup, will form into the crystal, ice crystal. Freezing dry means vacuum will be reduced. Porous structure will be formed because water is sublimated. Water, this is the food product. Water is that is dry crystal is ice crystal is directly converted from ice crystal into the gas. So a porous structure will be formed, and you can obtain this porous structure very easily. So this is the mainly freeze drying process, spray drying process, and many more process which you can study. Thank you.